Hey guys, welcome back to Lost Eidolons, the Witch Run number 35. I was already had an episode made, and I was just at the end of the third act boss, and we were going to beat him, and then electricity cut out, so unfortunately, we have to go back to it. To whatever save it is, probably before the boss fight. Shit. That's not good.
Hi, Mom. I can't wait for you to hear well again, so I won't have to scream to tell you that I love you. Now tell me if you can hear this. It's not just your hearing. For us, it's your life. That's why we created the Miracle in a Day. Our expertise is backed by licensed professionals that take the time to get to know you and your needs. Book your free test. Call 1-800-317-4279. Your care is on us. From your first hearing test to free unlimited servicing, fittings, and checkups. We utilize solutions that transform hearing. It's our way of offering nearly invisible signs to AI technology. Try this free. Call 1-800-317-4275. Stay connected to your loved ones. But now, call 1-800-317-4275. Dad is a legend. Who can we thank for that? Let Ancestry help you piece together your story with a family history membership and detailed DNA results. Start today at Ancestry.
5 Senate Democrats to cross over, peel away from their leader, Chuck Schumer, and vote with the Republicans to get this government reopened. Senator Fetterman said was, once we get the government open, we can get back to the negotiating table. That's what everybody's been saying now for 27 days.
And we are just moments away from an update on government shutdown now in May 22nd. House Speaker Mike Johnson will be speaking here, but Republicans digging in and blaming Democrats for refusing to end the stalemate as some key benefits are about to run out. Welcome to a brand new hour of American News Trump and Dave.
Morning to you. We had a grand weekend.
Right.
Here we go.
I surprised some friends and pulled it off perfectly. I produced the whole thing. But Ingrid was a great actress.
I appreciate that. I'm Bill Henry. Good morning at home. The shutdown nearly 1 month old. The effects are hitting hard. You got food benefits drying up. You got airport delays getting worse. And you got federal workers missing paychecks. Both sides pointing fingers at the weekend. Just open the damn government. Trying to close down the health care of the people. And Mike Johnson says that I basically can't say anything until the White House tells me what to say.
2 million recipients of SNAP right here in Pennsylvania. So this is about the president says he wants to deal with the cost of people's health care. So why doesn't he get in the room with us and make Mike Johnson bring the Republican Congress back? They're hurting the economy. People are working down their paychecks.
Senior congressional correspondent Jeff Bergeron is on Capitol Hill and has the latest as we enter day 27.
can feel the tension mounting as we, in fact, enter day 27 of the government shutdown, but there's no plan by either side to reopen the government despite the pain. There was a ground stop yesterday at the airport in Los Angeles.
The Democrats can solve that problem with air traffic control. All they have to do is say the country's open. We only need 5 votes. The Republicans are with us. We only need 5 votes. So let's see what happens. I would imagine that gets taken care of. Not only the controllers, but other people too.
Now there's concern about air traffic controllers and increasingly long lines at TSA. Democrats fear that Congress is ceding authority to the president during the shutdown. The House has not voted since mid-September.
He thinks he can exercise king-like powers. He can open up the parts of the government that he wants. He can pay the employees who are loyal to him. I mean, this is a leader who is trying to transition our government from a democracy to something much closer to a totalitarian state.
Now, Democrats are insisting on money to offset Obamacare, but there are no true negotiations right now. No one is quite sure how to escape from the cul-de-sac.
Could you get a compromise? I mean, could you do it for 1 year? They're sure within the shutdown we can start working on that. Right now we're stuck like something else. We need to break the logjam so we can put these proposals in place and say,
Holy fuck, we did it.
The American Federation of Government Employees, Everett Kelly, says it is, quote, time to pass a clean continuing resolution to end the shutdown. That's the straight spending bill, which Democrats have blocked 12 times so far in the Senate. Okay?
Excellent. Now we're on the 4th act.
The U.S. Small Business Administration, and she can speak specifically to some of the great hardships that are being felt by the people who provide jobs now around this country. Day 27 means it's almost been a full month since the Democrats shut down the government. And as we near the end of this month, the pain being felt by so many hardworking people around this country is very real, and it gets worse with each passing day. Here's some of the stats. Last week, 1.4 million federal workers missed the full paycheck. Now, you know, many of them are furloughed, and many more are deemed essential workers, those who are essential, for example, to keep the country safe. TSA agents we've discussed, and air traffic controllers, border patrol, and of course our troops. But so many of them now are going without pay. The families of military service members and air traffic controllers and so many of these others are now at very real risk of missing a paycheck at the end of this month. The Trump administration has done everything possible to go backwards to try to find sources of funding within the federal government to be able to cover the bases, but it is getting more and more challenging with each day. Now, every Republican in Congress wants to stop this madness desperately. And we have voted many times, over a dozen times, collectively 13 times, to reopen the government, to keep it open and reopen it once the Democrats close it. But here's the very simple and important fact that no one should forget. We have no ability. Republicans do not have the ability to do this on our own. It's a simple math problem. We need Democrats to help. You need 60 votes in the Senate. We only have 53 Republicans. The Democrats are the ones voting repeatedly to shut down the government. But they're not opening it back up. They spent most of their time trying to distract the American people from the very simple truth. So I brought you a little visual aid here to just remind everybody what the simple facts are. 4 simple facts here. The Democrats are required to open the government. They keep saying Republicans are in charge of government. We aren't. Not in the Senate. 60 votes control the Senate. Not a fair majority. And so point number 1, Democrat votes are required to open the government. Point number 2, they refuse to do it. They have now voted 12 times to keep the government closed. And they'll have another chance today or tomorrow, maybe multiple times this week, and then we'll see what they do. Now, the third point is very important because they've been trying to confuse the American people. They've tried to say this is a fight about health care or this or that or any other thing. And it's very simple. They put this on paper. They made this their demand in writing in the record of the Senate. It has not changed. These are just 4 sub-points there on fact number 3. But there's many more. But among the things they're demanding, this is what the Democrats in the Senate are demanding to reopen the government. They want to get $200 billion in health benefits to illegal aliens and non-citizens paid for by U.S. taxpayers. That is in their proposal. They want billions in wasteful programs to be returned to foreign countries. So we stop these things. They want to turn it all back on. They're demanding that we do all that to get the government open for hardworking Americans. They want to give $500 million to left-leaning news organizations, and they want to cut $50 billion from rural hospitals. We cannot, we will not do those things. And they know that very well. Which leads us to point number 4. The Democrats have now openly admitted, and you all had to cover it last week, that they're using the pain of the American people as their leverage. That was the number 2 ranked Democrat in the House. The Democrat, the minority whip, who said that, acknowledged it in an interview, that this is leverage. And Chuck Schumer himself boasted that every day of the shutdown gets better for us. That's his now infamous quote that he wishes he had not said out loud. But you know what they're doing and why. Why are they doing these things? Why is point number 3 so essential for them? Why would they do this? Because it's unprecedented, as we've noticed, and reminded you all, they voted for CRs every time it was possible in their lives, as recently as March of this year. But they're doing it to appease their far-left Marxist base. That's the headline. That's why. That's why we're all in this mess. That's why the American people are suffering pain. Because the Democrats are more afraid of the Marxists in their base than they are of hardworking Americans. See, they've made an evaluation that they have to appease the Marxists. That they're so concerned that they'll lose their jobs if they don't appease the far left in their party. And they sat in a back room and they made the calculation that they would rather shut the government down and impose all this pain on the American people. Because they believe the Marxists, the far left in the base, are more active.
Oh, so that is the end of the game.
People who go vote. And so they made
I thought there was 4 acts and 2 more bosses in the 4th act.
use the pain as leverage. For what?
We'll see.
To prove to the far left base that they won't be.
I'm pretty sure of that.
What are they fighting? It's a clean CR. It's the same level of funding that they have voted for as recently as earlier this year. They are Biden-level policies and spending. This is not some Republican wish list. We don't have any of our priorities in this at all. It's
Cool.
Democratic, but they have decided to flip the script this time because they were getting too much heat from the far left. The facts are so simple. And I'll give you exhibit B as to why this is so true. On Friday, there was a little bit of a seismic shift in politics. All of you noticed it over the weekend. We saw our clearest sign yet that this radical insurgent movement in the Democrat Party is succeeding. And they are ending what has always been known as the Democrat Party in America. After a months-long pressure campaign from the far left, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries finally commented he gave in. He gave his endorsement to the socialist running the mayor of New York City. The House Democrats have chosen a side. They were forced to by that far left they're so terrified of. And they've shown the world what they really believe. There is no longer a place for centrists and moderates in their party. The candidate that they have endorsed, Mamdani, is somebody who we talk about a lot from this podium. He sympathized with Hamas and openly embraced anti-Semitic language. He has called to, quote, seize the means of production because he is a Marxist. He's called to abolish our borders, to abolish and end immigration enforcement, to defund the police and to legalize prostitution, among a long list of things that I can share with you. Zoran Mamdani is expected to take the helm of one of the most important cities in the world, and the largest city in America. And he now has the full blessing of the Democrat leader in the House of Representatives. It is shocking. And that leader and all the other Democrats are going to co-own the consequences of what they do to America's largest city. Every reporter in this room should be asking every House Democrat individually whether they too agree with Hakeem's endorsement of the Marxist agenda. It's an extraordinary moment in the history of American politics. This is not the kind of history that we need to be making. What we're witnessing is truly the end of the Democratic Party as we know it. And even some Democrats are now saying that out loud. You can see it in their interviews. I watched one last night. All this is directly related to the Democrats' shutdown show. Why? Because just like they decided to save their own skin, that they had to endorse the Marxist Mamdani, unprecedented move, they also decided they had to shut down the government in an unprecedented move. No matter the pain it inflicts upon hardworking American people, they are simply more afraid of the Marxists in their party than they are of voters. The sake of our country, we pray that their calculation is wrong. We believe as they try to obscure it, as much as they try to distract you, as much as they try to say that it's about any other issue under the sun, all those issues were always scheduled to be decided. Healthcare, the expiring Obamacare subsidies, the NDAA, the appropriations, all these other things. It was always on the calendar for Republicans and Democrats to hash it out in October, November, and December. This is not a surprise to Republicans. It's not a surprise to Democrats, and they all know it. That is the only thing they can grasp onto to try to give some sort of argument, to try to give cover for the fact that they're running from the far left-based party. Facts are facts. And the ball is fully in the court of the Senate Democrats now. Who are they going to respond to? I think hardworking American families need to be a little more vocal. I think they need to call some of these Senate offices and tell them to stop the games. They need to know they should fear the American people worse than the Marxists who are trying to take over their party. And my friends, that is exactly what is going on right now. Now, I want to zoom in because we have a special guest and just focus on a group of men and women who are seeing the impact of the shutdown on their bottom line every single day. And that is of America's small business owners. See, small businesses are the largest employers in our country. But unlike Washington Democrats, they don't have the luxury to wait out this shutdown. For many of them, federal contracts have been frozen. SBA loans and support have dried up. And business has dropped off due to uncertainty in the markets. A survey of small business owners across the country found that for the 1 in 5 small business owners who rely on government contracts, this shutdown is forcing them to pull back on their investments. And what are those investments? It's new hires, new jobs. It's supplies and services. They have to pull back on those things so that they can make payroll work, so they can keep their employees employed. One business in Raleigh, North Carolina that relies on federal environmental approval said this, quote, "The backlog that is generated by the shutdown will last long beyond today." Another business in Georgia, the Slough Homestead, specializes in home repairs, added, quote, "When livelihoods are affected in such a manner, home repairs and projects get delayed if not canceled. A government shutdown is a threat to us all." For American businesses that rely on loans from the SBA, each day means crucial dollars lost, and that affects every American at the end of the day. Small businesses across the country are being forced to go without roughly $170 million in SBA-backed loans each day, and that adds up to $4.5 billion in blocked loans just over the course of this shutdown so far. So while Chuck Schumer says that every day gets better for his party, every day is getting much, much harder for the people who are keeping the lights on around the country. To share more about what small businesses are experiencing firsthand, we are really delighted to join and welcoming this morning the administrator of the U.S. Small Business Administration, Kelly Laughlin.
So we've been listening to Speaker Johnson now for, 2.5 weeks, day 27. If it continues until next Tuesday, I think that'll tie the longest shutdown ever. It's generally next Tuesday's big election. I just wonder if there's some sort of connection if Democrats are able to have a big night, they're able to go 3-0 in some of these closely watched races, whether or not they get some sort of momentum. But the focus today is on the small businesses.
Some people thought that after the No Kings rally, the Democrats would cave, but apparently they're digging in, and we saw that on the Sunday shows as well. So, New Jersey, we talk about it. Watch here.
I don't care if it's in your neighborhood, your place of work, your house of worship, your social networks, aisle 8 of the supermarket. Tell people what's at stake.
On day one, my opponent was suggesting that he was going to get out this overwhelming vote. I think we need it in the day one vote. So that is fantastic. Republican Jack Ciattarelli and Democrat Mike Sherrill rallying voters in New Jersey over the weekend as the governor's race there comes down to the wire. Both candidates bringing in reinforcements as early voting is now underway with just over a week until election day. Ryan Yanez is live from Clifton. He's got the latest for us. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, David. Good morning. Well, New Jersey's two-term Democratic Governor Phil Murphy hit the campaign trail for the first time on Sunday with Democrat Mikey Sherrill. It's notable because Sherrill says that she would give Murphy a B grade as governor, and Murphy has questioned whether Sherrill has the legal authority to even fulfill her main campaign promise, freezing high electricity rates and declaring a state of emergency. Sherrill also campaigned with Arizona Senator Mark Kelly and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, saying a vote for Republican Jack Ciattarelli is a vote for President Trump, an extreme But Chiarelli says that's a lie. He is for a woman's right to choose and is now for same-sex marriage. He campaigned alongside Puerto Rico's governor to rally Latino voters Saturday.
Democrats have controlled the legislature for 25 years. They've had the governorship for the last 8 years, and all we see are policy failures all across the state, whether it's affordability, public education, public safety, overdevelopment in our suburbs. These are the issues. We'll just continue to go out there and tell people, if you want change, you gotta make a change.
President Trump, meantime, held a tele-rally for Chiarelli recently, promising to lower energy costs that have spiked 20% this summer.
Jack, look at your energy costs way down. Look at all your costs. He's going to get energy costs. He called my office 5 times talking about energy. That's the only one she talks about is energy once you get the rent. She's never called anybody. She'll end up doubling and tripling your energy costs.
This is Chiarelli's third time running for governor. He says it's the most energy he's felt in the trail. Damn.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right, Timmy, Pam, and Rizziola, can't wait to get going. Gentlemen, good day to you. Monday, hello. Call for number 2. This is what we find in it. It's a blue state, right? Trump lost it by 6 points last year. They lost it by 16.5 years ago. By all accounts, this is going to be a close race.
Amen. I am not one of the here, but I've lost so much money in the casinos. I should be allowed to vote in this election. So thanks for having me. I'm committed. I have skin in the game. I've been analyzing this very far outside of the metric. Okay, as a radio guy, I'm still reacting daily to phone calls about Mikey Sherrill's interview with Charlotte. Remember this? But the stock issue. She was asked if her family made $7 million, and she says she doesn't know. Okay, it was such a disastrous answer at the time, but it still resonates with my show. Like, we talk, this is what I guess about that. I'm not talking about turnouts or about previous elections. I'm talking about the reality that she was asked about possible corruption and said she didn't know. If I come home tonight at 3 in the morning and Jenny goes, "Where were you?" and I go, "I don't know," that doesn't work with Jenny. And that's where I think a black turnout might be something that plays an oversized role in determining a very close race, because that authenticity issue is where I feel like she's trailing. Chiarelli looks believable. You watch him and go, there's an efficiency to this man that wants to do stuff. Mikey Sherrill is running on what feels like an aftershock of the Kamala agenda. And I don't know if that's tangible in the real world. That might be Chiarelli's best hope.
The radio show is your new path.
Yeah, hey, I mean, really, and just get it and dump it on it.
Yeah, they want to tell you things. This is a New Jersey Democratic Assemblyman who said this to the Washington Post. After Trump gained New Jersey's governor's race opposite the Democrats, he said, "I think that a lot of individuals in urban communities have awakened to the fact that the party politics no longer work. The Democratic Party forced them to look at other options because of the inactivity and inaction of the things that they care about most," which is a little bit of also what Jimmy's been saying.
Yeah, look, I mean, Jack didn't see the ad. He's going to come back and, how do you not know he made $7 million? Come on. And it's great. It's very Jersey. And how do you not know he made $7 million? Give me a break. It just works. He's a Jersey guy. She's not from Jersey. But the black voters, the Latino voters, absolutely they have had with the Democrat Party. Jack is doing very well with Latino voters. Donald Trump did very well with Latino voters. Donald Trump won the state county of New Jersey because of Latino voters. And if the black male turnout is low for Mikey Sherrill because it's low for Kamala Harris, Jack Chiarelli has a real second shot at winning this race. And the issue of the money, you know why it matters? It matters because everybody else is getting screwed and paying more for everything. And she turns around and makes billions of dollars as a member of Congress by investing in the very stuff that as a member of those committees she had oversight of. And that's the problem with people. We will have the board fired up on Tuesday night. We'll watch it in real time here. From Chicago now, here's Brandon Johnson. He's up in arms about the term illegal alien.
We don't have illegal aliens. I don't know if that's been some sort of sci-fi message. Well, listen, the legal aliens, I'm going to use that term too. So look, let's just get the language right. We're talking about undocumented that are human beings. The last thing that I'm going to do is accept the type of racist, nasty language to describe human beings.
Jimmy, this is the reason Brandon Johnson is pulling behind my milk. I had 2% this morning. I don't know if he got the memo, but we're so done with the performative outrage as a political defense. You know what I mean by that? When he says, these are human beings, you're using this terminology for. Where is that human empathy for people getting killed in Chicago? And that's the biggest problem we have. Is people see through that now in a way they did 5 years ago. Like, I don't want to make this about me, my New York bestseller, Candy Culture Dictionary.
spending millions of dollars on aliens, and people are tired of this. This is why they said enough is enough.
And I'm glad to see a whole milk making a comeback.
That was a great match.
Rich, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Well, after a historic loss, the Democrats are still wandering in the political wilderness. Why the party is struggling to find its footing.
Also, we got a major update on that heist at the Louvre Museum in Paris. 2 suspects arrested. One about the other not to make $100 million. Precious jewels are missing.
What they do right is they did their homework. What they did wrong is left too many traces behind. They left the tools behind. It's a big, a lot of DNA, you know. So that's a problem. They will catch it.
Talk is key when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% US-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
Hi folks, I'd like to tell you about Why We Fight. Did you know that as an accredited investor, when you invest in Why We Fight, your interest rate is fixed? And did you know that you can invest for 1 to 5 years and you can spread your investment over those terms to best suit you? And you have the freedom to take your monthly interest income or reinvest it, whatever you choose. When you invest in Why We Fight, your interest is calculated daily, you're paid monthly, and should you need your money back early, there is a liquidity feature. Would you like more information? All you have to do is call 877-80-INVEST. That's 877-80-INVEST. Or log on to investwhyrefi.com. That's investwhyrefi.com for complete details. And make sure you review the private placement memorandum and scan this QR code to view the disclosure at your leisure. Why we fight, investing in America's future.
Dry ivory isn't just a feeling. It's a science. TheraTears has oxylights, a unique blend of the 5 vital electrolytes found in natural tears, all working together to support hydration. For a feeling no other drop can give. Give your eyes a burst of long-lasting relief with TheraTears Dry Eye Therapy. Science-backed hydration. At the Farmer's Dog, our fresh food plants help old dogs feel young again. Get 50% off your first box only at thefarmersdog.com. Showing up, being there. It's how people see you. It's how you lead your life. At United Healthcare, being reliable is what we're all about too. So now that it's Medicare annual enrollment, turn to us for coverage and support you can count on. Call now to learn more about AARP Medicare Advantage plans from United Healthcare. Our plans give you all-in-one coverage and low out-of-pocket costs, with benefits including $0 annual physical exams, lab tests, and preventive care like mammograms and colonoscopies. And you'll get the extras you want, like $0 copays on preventive film, a $0 eye exam, and with a Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan, $0 copays on hundreds of prescriptions, all for $0 or lower in premium. At United Healthcare, being reliable is all about taking that extra step to be there for others. It's why we're committed to being there for you every step of the way. Call United Healthcare to learn more about your options, designed for every budget, stage, and age. And to help make the Medicare experience simpler, you'll get the exclusive new for America's most chosen Medicare Advantage plan. Call or print at United Healthcare today for affordable all-in-one coverage. Showing up, being United. It's who you are. At United Healthcare, we'll be there too, with support you can count on every step of the way.
We live, work, and play in structures made of steel. American-made steel enables dreamers to build and builders to dream with more strength and more elegance, more sustainably. Let's keep the domestic steel industry we count on right here to strengthen our people, our communities, and our economy. Together, we will build a stronger home. Question now about Democrats. Are they headed for another bruising in 2028? The fractured party remains without a leader, and insiders are groaning about some possible contenders, some of whom walked over the weekend. Alexander Hall follows that. Alex, good morning to you in Washington.
Good morning, Bill. There are at least three fault lines. Democratic gubernatorial candidates trying to sell themselves as centrists, former President Biden pushing the party to be the defenders of institutions, and then you have the tear-down institutions crowd. Former Vice President Kamala Harris in a book tour right now trying to find out where she fits in, teasing a comeback to the DC this weekend.
That is correct. I am not done. I have lived my entire career a life of service, and it's in my bones. And there are many ways to serve. I've not decided yet what I will do in the future beyond what I'm doing right now.
She says, I'm not done. I can hear America say, oh yes, you are done. You are definitely done.
California Republican gubernatorial candidate Steve Pelton also among those accusing Governor Gavin Newsom of playing chameleon as he ponders a presidential move.
Is there to say, after the 2026 midterms, you're going to get a serious one? Yeah, I'd be lying. Otherwise, I'd just be lying. And I can't do that.
Meanwhile, New York Governor Kathy Hochul faces tax the rich heckling at a Zurab-Madani rally last night featuring AOC and Senator Sanders. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, as we heard earlier in the show, has now endorsed Madani. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer still withholding support. And in Boston, Harvard, the Democratic Socialist, former President Biden accepted a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Kennedy Institute, saying this.
Our institution, what makes us stand in the world, our democracy, we're fighting our health.
But lack of cohesion doesn't necessarily mean lack of support. The latest Gallup poll found Democrats up 7 points in terms of which party Americans identify with. But, Bill, it comes down to fundraising. So far, when it comes to committees, Democrats are falling behind Republicans.
Alexander, nice to see you. Thank you. So meanwhile, Air Force One a bit earlier, President Trump traveling in Asia was asked if he has any plans to run again in 2028 and also the future of the party.
Well, I haven't really thought about it. We have JD, obviously, the vice president is great. If Marco is great, I think, I'm not sure if anybody would run again, so I think if we have a fourth group, it would be unstoppable. I would love to do it. I'm not running it.
I think he was trolling people there already. I mean, he wants to free a lot.
We want some body language.
I don't think he would ever play poker very well. He starts laughing.
You got a man's Rubio ticket.
We'll see, my favorite line. All right, 2 suspects arrested over immigration heights last week with a man that confused 2 others, and the whereabouts of the stolen crown jewels. That's still a mystery. Joining us now is Anthony Amore, Director of Security and Chief Investigator at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Great to have you here. A source told the Telegraph that someone on the inside was likely involved, but there is digital forensic evidence that shows there was cooperation with one of the museum security guards and the thieves. Sensitive information was passed on about the museum's security, which is how they were aware of the breach. And there seems to be a connection possibly to the 2 of the suspects. Their names aren't out there, but Mali and West Africa has been mentioned. Your thoughts?
Well, first, I'm not surprised about the talk of an insider. It's estimated that at least 80% of all museum thefts involve some sort of insider information. And I have been saying from the onset everything about the way the thieves went about stealing these jewels. I mean, breaking into an open museum. These sorts of things speak
must give some indicators as to who the other two people are.
Were you surprised, dismayed about the lack of security that you as Twin CCs were able to do this?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a lack of security. There was a camera that was pointing in the wrong direction. There's really no major museum in the world that hasn't been robbed at least once. And when you have determined thieves use a clever ruse like the one they did, and some heavy equipment like the tools they had, they're going to be difficult to stop. It's unfortunate that they were successful. But again, I think with the assistance of some inside information, they were able to pull this off before the gallery was packed with people. This is the world's busiest museum, and I would assume that 9:30 that gallery would be packed with people. It was not.
There was a woman who talks about the pressure that these thieves must be feeling. She was on Fox and Friends over the weekend. I'm sorry, not Fox. I saw this earlier, watching her.
These are items I saw. I was like, they have 8 dead bodies in the basement. Nobody was touching. This is too much. I'm sure they're nervous now. I need to find a way to them out of cover. They will go to Antwerp. Antwerp is a good moment. Still secret police, so watch out.
We are in a new era where a former art thief is here to provide commentary, which I suppose is helpful. What do you think is happening right now with the jewels? Are they hidden? Your best guess? I know that we don't know for sure, but you're in the business. I'm wondering what you think they are now.
Well, I think the heat is on the two remaining thieves. They must have. If they don't have possession of them still, they have key knowledge as to where they are. I think that this quick arrest of the other two thieves has probably made them freeze to some extent and really consider what their options are here. Because if they destroy them, I'm sure that the authorities are going to really hammer them.
Can I ask you?
What sentence they face.
Can I ask you? Is it likely that the thieves would have already known about your buyer before they tried it?
If it was a buyer, it would be somebody who planned to help fence the pieces as individual stones, but there's no buyer to these things as whole pieces.
Interesting. Well, I love an art that mystery. Unfortunately, this one continues. I'd love to get it solved and hopefully have you back when that happens. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now a judge in Utah today will announce what Charlie Kirk's accused assassin can wear in court. Why that decision could be important in the trial. Plus, the military buildup in the Caribbean, some are asking if a war with Venezuela could be now.
I hope Maduro would leave peacefully, but I don't think he's going to stay around much longer. I think President Trump is tired of Venezuela being used as a staging platform to poison America.
Never before has it been more important to protect your assets, IRAs, and 401ks from the crisis that we're facing. Hi, I'm William Devane, and like you, I've worked hard for my money, and I'm not about to lose it now. With all the financial craziness in the world, I protect my retirement by buying gold every chance I get. I buy my gold from Rosalind Capital because I trust them. With Rosalind, what you order is what you get. No gimmicks, no nonsense, no hassle. Just call me. And Rosalind will send you free information on how you can protect your assets and your retirement. So protect your future from the problems of the world. Invest in stability with Rosalind Capital.
Call Rosalind Capital now to get your free gold kit, free silver kit, and free IRA kit with smart ways you can transfer or roll over your IRA. Call 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900. That's 800-630-8900. At Finance in America, we know you worked hard. So let us help you work for you, just like we did for Ann, Dick, and Susan. Because there's a better way to unlock your momentum with our range of reverse mortgage options, so you can access tax-free cash and eliminate your monthly mortgage payments.
And I'm happy. And I feel good about it.
It's a day doing it. It doesn't change your lifestyle, but for the better. You don't have to sacrifice anything to do some of the things you want.
Just imagine what you all have you can do. Thanks to our range of reverse mortgage options, a better retirement is just a phone call away.
I was able to remodel the kitchen, bedrooms, redo the floors, update plumbing and electric, and bring everything up to date.
So call 800-841-8599. Get your free obligation info and speak to a lender you trust. Market's been awarded an A+ by the Better Business Bureau with experts who guide you every step of the way.
Clients of America just kept working with me. They kept in touch with me. They were always there to answer any questions. It's kind of like a real solution for my retirement.
There's a better way with FOA, Finance of America. Call today or get your free info kit at FOA.com. Sean tells it like it is. Get his take on the nation's hot button topics.
On the show, we always want to set the record straight.
You can't miss Hannity with Beds at 9.
Watch your TV on the go. Coachella customers can now enjoy local programming online. Simply log into your Coachella account on coachella.ca. Click on your TV and start streaming. Your TV is truly local, exclusively on Coachella. YourTV.tv is our online home. Find videos, our broadcast schedule, community events, and how you can get involved in your local channel. Visit YourTV.tv. We are truly local. We all need travel, but we all need something a little different from the places we go. We need adventure, wonder, a thrill, a challenge. When your heart needs quiet, when your heart needs to race, to sing, to reflect. Whatever your heart needs, Canada's heart is calling. These days at your local Legion, we're marching to the beat of a different drum. On a mission to support veterans, to have fun, and to welcome everyone to our ranks. You don't have to be a veteran to join the Legion. And as a member, you'll join thousands of others serving our veterans, our communities, and our country. Oh yeah, and our Member Perks program will save you thousands on shopping, dining, products, and services across the country. Join us at legion.ca.
So this was that make your headline in college football. LSU has fired its coach Brian Kelly. This after a blowout loss to Texas A&M over the weekend, the Tigers' third defeat in 4 games. LSU hired Kelly away from Notre Dame about 4 years ago. He was on a 10-year deal. Now school could still be on the hook to pay him more than $50 million. In the middle of this fourth season there, it did not work out. It's not rude.
I remember when that happened during the show that the news broke and we announced. I had no idea who he was.
Well, when he was leaving Notre
He
Dame.
was leaving Notre Dame, and I followed all the things about the money and that he was smart. He was a 10-year contract, and he got to pay out money even if he didn't win. Here we are. Sure. Let's take you to this story now about Venezuela. It is now responding to the arrival of a U.S. warship in Trinidad and Tobago. The regime calling it a quote military provocation designed to trigger a confrontation. Julian Turner is following this at the State Department report. Hi, Julian. I can learn two data. So President Trump is now beefing up the U.S. military presence in the Western Hemisphere as a means of trying to deter Venezuela and leader Nicolas Maduro from continuing to export drugs across the region and here to America as well. Big update coming yesterday. The U.S. got a missile order. The U.S. has bravely stopped Trinidad and capital neighbors Venezuela to conduct joint military exercises there. This comes out when the Pentagon confirmed its 10th missile strike on a suspected drug vessel last week. It killed 6 people, bringing the total number of fatalities now in President Trump's boat drug load campaign to more than 43. Venezuelan opposition leader and now Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado tells Fox News she is 100% behind President Trump's war on drugs.
Everybody knows Maduro is the head of the biggest cartel, drug cartel, Cartel of the Suns, also the head of the Tren de Aragua, a criminal network that has committed crimes in the U.S. and Canada, up down to Argentina and Chile.
Well, the Pentagon also deploying another major Navy asset over the weekend. The USS Gerald Ford Strike Carrier Group now headed to Southcom for a new anti-drug trafficking mission there.
To be clear, we've gotten no information. I've been invited to no briefing. But a briefing is not enough to overcome the Constitution. The Constitution says that when you go to war, Congress has to vote on it.
Criticism mounting from Republican lawmakers like Rand Paul now about what they say is lack of communication on these strikes from the White House. Also worth noting, Dana, those American mercenaries that Venezuela's government captured last week, they are now accusing them of being CIA operatives who they say they caught while planning American military action inside the country. Dana? All right, Jillian, that story is curious and gets more so by the day thanks for following.
Yeah, the closed door hearing in the state of Utah. A judge will decide whether or not Charlie Kirk's accused assassin can wear street clothes and remain unshackled during court appearances. Lawyers for Tyler Robinson, age 22, arguing in a motion, quote, "These requests are necessary to maintain the presumption of innocence, to protect Mr. Robinson's rights to a fair and impartial trial, and to maintain courtroom decorum and dignity." Josh Ritter's got some thoughts on this. Josh, good morning to you there in California. They're also arguing this U.S. Supreme Court, Depp versus Missouri. This is what they say. Number one, the Supreme Court made clear that during the guilt phase of a criminal trial, the due process clauses of the 5th and 14th Amendments forbid routine use of visible shackles. Josh, what's your hunch? What is the judge deciding to start there?
Well, while this request is not entirely unheard of, I would say it's uncommon to have a person in pre-trial hearings, certainly during trial. Somebody's going to dress out, they're going to wear a suit, they're not going to be in shackles. But for pre-trial hearings, it's fairly uncommon to have somebody dress out and not be in their prison uniform. But I think it teaches us a couple of things. It tells us a couple of things about what these attorneys are thinking about. First of all, they are thinking about trial. They're keenly looking forward towards trial, and that's why they're anticipating how will potential jurors be viewing him if they even see him during these pre-trial hearings not dressed in a suit. And I think the other thing it tells us is how they're incredibly leading on. They know that there's a lot of attention on this case. They know there's going to be cameras in the courtroom. They know that they're going to be under the microscope as far as everything they do. So they're even concerned down to what he's wearing in court and how that might be perceived.
Trey Gowdy was on our program. He was arguing that jurors sometimes, if they see you in shackles and orange jumpsuit, that you're already guilty. Do you agree with that?
I think absolutely during trial it would be inappropriate. That would be something that people would walk into trial. You know, they're already looking over at the defendant and they're thinking to themselves, what did that person do? So you're combating the as a criminal defense attorney. And certainly you would want them presenting as a person who's not in custody during trial. But during pre-trial hearings where most of the public is not watching, where the potential jurors are not inside of the courtroom, I think it's sometimes a little extreme, but we're seeing those requests more and more now.
Josh, the insiders on the legal side, this could go on for 2 years in the state of Utah. Another topic now. There's been an arrest of a 29-year-old so-called anarchist by the name of Tyler Eidolons. I think I got that right. Arrested for a $45,000 hit on Pam Bondi. What do we know about that?
Well, right now, I think it's the judge has let him out of custody. He's under certain restrictions. He has to attend mental health counseling. He has to stay within the state. But in the wake of the case we were just talking about, the idea that violence is occurring based upon political speech and political positions that people have, I would expect everyone to take this incredibly seriously. They're going to have to determine, was this an actual threat? Meaning, would anyone hearing this be reasonably in apprehension of their safety or their life? And you could say, well, listen, the world is full of people who say wild and crazy things on the internet, and we have to be concerned with First Amendment protections. But I think that these things, we live in very different times. There's been an attempt on the president more than once. Now we have the death of Charlie Kirk. I think these threats, all of them, should be taken incredibly seriously.
Yeah, indeed. Josh, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Thank you.
friends. The world is changing.
Hi, Susan. Honey, I respect that. That cough looks pretty bad. Try this Robitussin, honey.
The only brand with true source certified honey.
Mind if I root through your trash?
Robitussin, the powerful cough relief you need. Save up to 50% on select styles of beautiful new carpet, hardwood, vinyl, and laminate from Empire Today. We'll beat any competitors off, guaranteed. Visit EmpireToday.com.
As a business owner, I've got a lot on my plate. That's why I use ZipRecruiter to hire. The plan was to hire 2 people, but the candidate quality was so good, I wound up hiring 4 in a week.
ZipRecruiter, rated the #1 hiring site. Try it free at ZipRecruiter.com/bot.
Hey there, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel Expert here to answer your questions. Upgrade my bath or shower. You can't stand the outdated look, the color, the cracked tiles, or maybe you're upgrading for safety. We offer an easy entry design, grab bars, a custom seat, and adjustable shower head.
Call right now and Jacuzzi will limit installation costs with no interest and no payments for up to a year.
How long does getting a new bath take? With Jacuzzi Bath Remodel, installation takes place in as little as 1 day. Why is Jacuzzi the best company to choose? With thousands of happy customers. You can trust Jacuzzi to get the bathroom of your dreams. It exceeded all my expectations.
Call or go online now to JacuzziBathRemodel.com for a limited time offer. We're waiving all installation costs, plus 0 interest and 0 payments for up to 1 year.
Go to JacuzziBathRemodel.com or call 800-284-2651.
Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms can keep coming back. Take a look into what's possible with Tremfya. With symptom relief as early as 4 weeks, remission at 12 weeks, and lasting remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible healing of the intestinal lining. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or any vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today.
We pull people off the street and ask them about their hearts.
How's your heart?
My heart's pretty good.
Sure. How do you know? If you're driving a car, you have to check engine light. The heart doesn't have an check heart sign.
Check your heart in just 30 seconds with Cardio Mobile and enjoy the convenience and reliability of a medical-grade EKG from anywhere. And you can get Cardio Mobile today for just $69 for a limited time only, our lowest price ever, so you can start taking charge of your heart health.
I want to show you something. Put both fingers right on those pads. There you go. In 30 seconds, we'll have medical grade EKG. There it is.
Cardio Mobile is proven to detect up to 6 of the most common arrhythmias, including atrial fibrillation, which, when left untreated, can increase your risk of stroke by 5 times. Cardio Mobile has recorded over 300 million EKGs, and it's our most clinically validated personal EKG. Cardio Mobile is available for just $69 for a limited time only, our lowest price ever. Get yours today at cardio.com or Amazon.
WeatherTech products are designed and manufactured in America using only American raw materials. Most competitors make things 7,000 miles away. You wonder why they don't fit. With WeatherTech in your vehicle, you move your angel singing as you marvel how they do it. Simple. American technology and American workers deliver quality. Not imported junk for a few bucks less. Get the world's best retailers and support America. Find your fit at WT.com.
Chewy offers out made for jobs. Never lets go of what he loves. Always is Chewy to get him everything he needs to keep loving life. One mouthful at a time. For low prices. For life with pets, there's Chewy.
Donate your card to today's veterans and help support Iowa Towers. The process is great and simple, and the proceeds from your generous card donation will go to support the good work that TTT is doing throughout our community. Any card is accepted, running or non-running, and we will pick it up for free. Your card donation will help Iowa Towers to help our dedicated veterans and their families. So call 888-980-VETS, or you can donate your card online at today'sveterans.org.
Excellent, guys. We'll save it here. And we'll see you in the next one.